pretty chill. Yeah.
Welcome back to Sunday sessions where instead of self-sabotaging, we self-reflect, self-develop through visual documentation. So it's been a while. It's been 3 months, I think, since I last uploaded a Sunday sessions video. But like we say, or like I said before in the previous video, just trying to get more consistent with posting, reflecting, and just sharing everything that I can. So I just wanted to give a shout out to a guy I've been watching recently, Jai. I'll put his channel up here. Jai Howard, he does these kinds of videos, and it's really inspired me to reflect on my journey as a young founder, a young entrepreneur, and just help more people who are in similar circumstances that I am. Sometimes feel alone with no one to share with, that kind of thing, right? So first things first, we're going to touch on a bit of a business update. So business update in terms of how we're looking right now. Currently in 2 locations. I own Temper Fitness. We're a personal training company, essentially just striving to change the game within the fitness industry. Basically, I think the fitness industry is very oversaturated with PTs who are purely doing it for financial purposes, which for us, we are really trying to change the game and make sure every client feels welcome, they feel heard, and their goals are being met. So essentially, update for us, we're currently in 2 locations, World Gym Bunbury and we're in Revo Fitness Morley. We're looking at expanding into a 3rd location very, very soon, come 2025. So exciting times there. Now, in terms of numbers for the business, I'm going to touch on revenue, everything like that. I think that too many people are they don't share enough about their business. I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but for me, I'm kind of doing this to look back on in the future and see where we're at. So currently we're kind of sitting at 12 to 13k a week, which will be around like $600,000 to $700,000 per year in terms of revenue. I'm quickly learning like the difference between revenue and profit margin as well. I want to touch a little bit on my learnings in terms of what this week really taught me. Just learning to spend money in the right areas to grow the business and not so much spending money for the sake of spending money as well. So essentially, business update there, we're about 13k per week. I do some more work on the side, which is mentoring, helping PTs grow their businesses and really escape the kind of 9 to 5. So updated the business there, sitting at 12 to 13k per week. Bit of a personal update for me. I've got back into my training after a long time. Being in the fitness industry, I feel like it's very easy to neglect your own training, particularly when you spend so much time in the gym, and I definitely felt that. I think a lot of personal trainers probably do feel that as well. You spend, your whole life in the gym particularly when you're starting to grow and develop your business. But for me now, I've kind of had the opportunity to just take a step back out of the gyms and really hire staff who can come in and basically do my role of, training clientele while I can step out and develop systems and structures that will help the clientele further, and therefore we add more value to their training, which is ultimately the goal, right? So currently, I believe we have 9 staff members. We have 8, including myself. So there are 7 trainers, and also we have an admin. Now, admin is something that was a last thing that I hired in the business. Now, usually, I can imagine businesses would hire admin first. For us, it was last, and it was the best decision I have ever made, right? Like, previously, I was doing all the admin in the business. My head was in a million different places. I couldn't really focus on what I wanted to focus on, which was really just growing the business and developing the systems and the structures and making sure the clients are served. I was too busy, replying to emails and replying to messages and all these kinds of things. And that was really the last thing that I wanted to do. And that was really affecting me mentally in terms of like my ability to show up for the business, to show up for my staff, to show up for the team and just be a really good leader. So this week's learnings, basically, if you're looking at hiring, the first hire in your business, always bring in admin. I think that was the number one key learning. And then also a couple of other learnings that I found from this week. So micromanagement and learning to let go in business. I think that's something that I've struggled to do, particularly when you're a founder, you're a young founder, and you spend all your time working in the business, right? then you start to hire these people around you. You bring in admin, you bring in extra trainers, you bring in staff, whatever it might be, and you have to really learn to trust. And I don't know why I've struggled with that for a long time. Right now, I've got some really, really good people around me. It's taken it hasn't taken a long time, but it's taken a long time for me to be able to let go. And right now, I'm kind of feel like I'm in I'm a bit of a weird spot, right? Like I'm leading the team and making sure everything's run smoothly, but my application in terms of like what I have to do day to day has felt a little bit skewed recently. So I'm kind of working out what to do in terms of like my day to day process as we speak, and it's kind of I think it's going to take a couple of weeks just to figure out like what's next. So yeah, exciting times though, being able to kind of leverage myself out of the business and develop the team. Like for me as well, another learning is developing people to be better than you are, right? So if you're going to grow a successful business, chance you can't do everything, right? Then there was something that I read from this book here. Really good book, by the way. If you're looking for your next read, this is probably the book that has really helped me the most. So it's Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And this just had some really good processes that I could implement straight away into the business that I hadn't really discovered from other books and other reads. But Dan talks about, someone might not be able to do a job 100% the way that you can, but if they can do it 80% the way you can, that's 100% awesome. So I'm really trying to just remember that kind of that saying or whatever you want to call it, and just implement it into the business, but also develop my team to be better than I am in every single department of the business. Now, I just think that creates a successful business, and I might be wrong, but I think, Steve Jobs isn't doing everything, right? Mark Zuckerberg, these guys, they're not necessarily doing the day-to-day processes. They make the big decisions, and I've felt a little bit of imposter syndrome, just internally through taking a step back and actually, making the bigger decisions without actually doing the physical work, you could say. But yeah, that's like the key learning of the week. I think there's a few there. Summary, kind of micromanagement, learning to allocate your time was a big one, and then not feeling bad about it as well. So yeah, personal update, like we said, getting back, kind of tied that back into business anyway. Personal update, got back into training, have really started implementing more creativity into my lifestyle. I love being creative. It's one of the things I love most, videos, and just like creative projects for the business. So have started uploading again on TikTok. I did grow a TikTok account to about 25,000 followers. Must have been a couple of years ago, living on the Gold Coast, 18, just lifting weights and loving life. And, I built that to 25k, 30,000 followers, but there was nothing about me. It wasn't built around me in my personal brand. So I've started a fresh page just to really, so people can actually understand who I am and what I stand for and what I want to achieve and all these kinds of things. And hopefully they can relate to me. That is the goal there, that they can actually form a connection. So TikTok has started, YouTube is obviously up and running again, which I'm super, super excited about. I'm trying to obviously post a video a week. I'm trying to post daily on TikTok. We'll see how that goes. That's going to be at least 3 to 4 days a week. But I just feel excited and eager about the future in terms of vision for the company heading into next year. Currently we service about 140 clientele. We have the goal to obviously take the business to $1 million in revenue, but it's nothing to do with finances in terms of like, we want to make this kind of money. It's kind of a reflection of our impact. I think if you can build $1 million business, you have $1 million systems and you have $1 million worth of impact. That's something that I've really taken away from my short time in business. I'm a minimalist. As you can see, there's a mattress on the floor here. I have one desk in my room. A desk in my room with barely anything on it. I don't do any of this for money, but for passion and for purpose. And that's something that I thought, initially when you're young and you can get caught up in finances and all those kinds of things, I didn't want to fall into that trap. And I'm glad that I haven't really changed. And, making, like we say, profits are different to revenue, right? Like you might make that in terms of revenue, but you don't profit. The company might not profit that, or personally, you might not profit that. So another kind of just learning as we go, which is exciting, but kind of wanting to take, in terms of like personal goals, like we say, content more serious. I'm not going to put any numbers on it just yet. I just want to form the consistency every single week and make sure that I'm showing up and not kind of like saying I'm going to do something and not doing it, which I've done in the past with these kinds of things. So that is a raw update of where we're at with the business, me personally, and kind of what the future looks like going forward. I'm looking forward to sharing a lot more about my journey through business and personal development and growth on this channel. And I really appreciate you tuning in to watch and kind of, yeah, hear me out with what I have to say. So we'll catch you in the next one. Zen, bro. You gotta be zen. Be zen. Be zen. There it is. Well played.